Hello and good evening. It's hard to believe that we are here at the last workshop for this course. This is workshop 6 that's starting on Tuesday, the 18th of May, and we're going to put all the knowledge we have gained over the past 5 weeks in our final presentation for the HIT system that we are selecting. Let's start with the devotion for this week and see what biblical wisdom God is giving us today. Devotion this week will be from the second letter of Timothy, chapter 4, verses 1 to 8. And the scripture reads, I charge you therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who will judge the living and the dead at his appearance and his kingdom. Preach the word, be ready in season and out of season, convince, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and teaching. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap up for themselves teachers, and they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables. But you, be watchful in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, fulfill your ministry. For I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day, and not to me only, but also to all who have loved his appearing. And hopefully that's all of us. So the message today for all of us is finishing strong. Now, when we look at Paul's life, Saul, who persecuted Christ at the beginning of his life and persecuted all Christians, turned out to be one of the great apostles. Paul alone wrote half of the New Testament. The New Testament have 27 books, 14 written by Paul, and 13 written by everybody else, the four Gospels and the Catholic epistles and the Book of Revelation. So and Book of Acts. So Paul wrote half of the New Testament by himself. Paul, who started out on the wrong path altogether, not only he became the great Saint Paul that we read his letters all the time to learn from it, that he brought large number of unbelievers to Christianity. He finished the race strong, and he said it. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day. And same thing for us here. The message for us here is to finish strong. Of course, we want to finish our spiritual race as strong as Paul did and be among those who God will crown on that day. But also, we want to learn to do the same thing in our journey on this earth here to finish the race strong. You've gained a lot of knowledge through this course and through all the other classes that you've completed and all the other classes that you're going to complete as part of this program to finish your master's degree. So the message here is, how are you going to finish that race strong, and how are you going to take the knowledge that you are gaining and put it to work, deploy it to advance your career and enhance your knowledge and positions and become the great leader that Indiana Wesleyan is working on, helping shaping your life to be that great leader in characters and scholarship. So hopefully you all finish the race strong and go out there in the world and make a difference. Be the leaders that will make a difference. Workshop 6, you only have one chapter to read and cover the materials, which is the IT value analysis, and that's one of the great things that you will read in this course. We talk about this in the workplace all the time. Value. Why are we doing what we're doing? What is the value in this work, especially when it comes to HIT projects work? One of the first question that we are asked, what value are we going after here? What is this going to do for us? Is it going to help us increase revenue, patient safety, improving outcome? Is it something that we can measure financially? We definitely want to. Sometimes it's not always dollar amount, but because there is safety and patient outcome, that's hard to equate to dollars amount. But as long as we have a value that we can clearly identify and know how to measure, then we're doing good. We're living in a world now where healthcare market is becoming very, very competitive, and HIT investment has become vital for that competitiveness and survival in that market. One of the things that you're going to learn in this chapter too, new challenges that we're going to be worrying about and facing that we didn't in the past. Globalization is one, consumerism is one, the aging and overweight population is one, diseases that are more expensive to treat is another one, new medical technologies evolving every day and new treatments. And one of the things that we need to be mindful of in today's world is the new medical tourism. People travel to different parts of the world now because some areas of the world are known to be giving the best treatment in certain disease condition at the best possible cost. So if you're going to get the best treatment and it's not going to be costing you that much, you probably will think about it that maybe I should travel to this part or that part to get that treatment. So that's something that we have to be mindful of, and we have to adjust our pricing to be part of that competition. In Exhibit 13.2, that's something I definitely want you to pay attention to. It will teach you how to look at the investment that you're doing, and we're talking about value analysis here, and how it's going to impact you in terms of outcome. So if my initiative, my cost will improve my patient outcome, that's a good thing. I want to consider that, but I want to fully understand it. But if my cost is not going to change my outcome, I'm going to ask myself, why am I doing it? And if my cost is not going to worsen my outcome, definitely not. Why bother? If my cost is not changing, but the IT initiative or the HIT initiative is going to improve my outcome, definitely I want to do it. So that's a great thing to do. If it's not going to change my outcome, so it's no cost, not going to change the outcome, why would I put the effort in working on it? Question mark there. And if it's not going to change my cost, but it's going to worsen my outcome, I would not touch it. I would not waste my time. I wouldn't do it. If it's decreasing my cost and improving my outcome, that should be my top priority initiatives to do because I'm going to save and improve outcome. If it's going to decrease my cost but not going to change my outcome, it's still worth it. At least I have a benefit here, value realization. I'm going to decrease my cost. But if it's going to decrease my cost and worsen my outcome, I wouldn't do it because you get what you pay for. Yes, I'm going to save some money in here, but I'm going to decrease my outcome. That's not good reputation wise. That's not good from reimbursement perspective for the quality measures that we're all going after and many other reasons. That exhibit 13.2 is definitely worth putting some effort into it to get to understand it. When we talk about the steps for cost effectiveness analysis, there are 8 steps that we need to be mindful of. We need to identify the study objective. We need to specify the alternatives to that technology. We need to develop a framework for the analysis we're going to do. We need to measure the cost and be clear and remember the total cost of ownership, not just what the 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 the, the face price somebody is giving me. Need to understand what is my total cost of ownership for that solution, meaning any infrastructure needed, travel, training, etc., etc. Uh, Measuring the benefits, and that's something we talked about when we went through the 11 steps and value realization, and we talked about how we're going to have to know upfront how I'm going to measure my benefits after I implement that system. Factor in the life cycles and discounting. If I'm implementing a system, how long will it be here for me? Is the expectation to be here for 5 years, 7, 10, 15? You need to understand when you implement that system, how long you're hoping to keep that system for. And we have to keep in mind dealing with all uncertainties in this equation here. And finally, considering the equity. Those are the 8 steps for a cost effectiveness analysis. Value realization is really something that almost all organizations are focusing on today. And before we spend money on any new HIT initiative or opportunity, we will be asked to clearly identify what is the value and how we're going to realize that value. So it's something that we really have to be working on and totally understanding upfront. Um, Moving on to the final presentation that there will be one discussion. It's going to ask you to list and assess the 8 steps in conducting benefit cost analysis and cost effectiveness analysis. So that's what you'll be posting in your discussion. But finally, the final project, which is the biggest assignment, and it's worth 240 points. That are a lot of points, about 25% of all the grades that you're going to get in this course. I would say please, please, please read the instructions very carefully. It's going to tell you to create an in-depth PowerPoint presentation. It will tell you that you need to have a minimum of 15 slides, not including the title slide and the references. So your PowerPoint should be at least 17 slides. That's the bare minimum, but it definitely could be more. It's going to tell you to keep in mind few things as you work on that assignment. Number one, how the selection will be aligned with your organization HIT strategy. So you have to cover that point. Number two, what is the selection's operational effectiveness for your operation in the area that you're implementing? Number three, what is the competitive advantage for this solution that you're selecting? Why did you select this one? Why is it better than the other ones in the market? What is their competitive advantage? You have to mention that and cover that. You have to include highlights on the development of the information technology business case for the solution that you are going to implement. So business case must be addressed. It will also ask you to cover your return on investment. Well, again, back to the value, return on investment, and what's going to be the value in that implementation. So make sure that you cover that as well. It tells you in step number 6, in addition to text, you should use images to help explain your concept. So images will enrich your PowerPoint presentation. But we cannot overdo it and just have images filling all the slides and not providing enough materials to paint a good picture of that HIT implementation. And finally, the one step that we cannot forget or cannot overlook, it will tell you to include in step number 5C, include a 3 to 5 minute audio summary using the PowerPoint sound recording function. If you don't know how to use the PowerPoint sound recording function, easy. Look it up on YouTube and you will find 5 million videos teaching you in 2 minutes how to use the PowerPoint sound recording option. Uh, I cannot stress enough on how crucial and important to understand how the final assignment will be graded and to cover everything that's mentioned in the instructions. And that will be also part of the rubric that we use to grade your assignment. I hope that this course in general was insightful for you. We found some good information that you can use in real life. And as usual, if you have any questions between now and submitting your final project next week, I am here for you, whether by email or phone call. I am glad to help in any way that I can. Thank you.